Hello friends, welcome back to another day of Yelk puts paint on plastic. Today I'm working on these little buggers. These boys are called Tyranids. Little bug boys found invading on the planet Tyran in the 40k universe. They are basically the Zerg from StarCraft, in that all they're doing is trying to eat everything and convert it into more biomass so that they can make more of their little buggers so that they can keep eating. Because, honestly, life goals. If I could just spend the rest of my life eating and doing what I wanted, sounds like a pretty good time. So I've got to paint up a few dozen more of these things for kill team and boarding actions, so just gonna get right to it. Did a few test pieces already, and I liked what I saw, so we're going through with it. These boys are pretty basic. They get their base coat in blue, which I did with the airbrush. I kind of went a little overboard on the air pressure, and I got a lot of spider webbing, which caused spotting, basically. If you can see that, if the camera will focus, basically the paint liked to pool in certain areas, which isn't typically great, but for bug carapace, I think it looks fine. And then after that, we are giving it a purple wash in the recesses of everything. So like here in the guns and these little exposed rib sections all over the place. And then after that, we'll paint the main chitin carapaces a nice bright red, and it'll be on to the next ones. Probably also going to end up eventually going back and doing edge highlighting, especially on the tops of the carapaces. But we'll see what we decide when we get there. For now, just going to focus on getting the wash into the recesses, maybe even dry brushing back some of the blue where the purple pooled on us. And getting that carapace layer down. Hey SJ, yep, we are painting bugs today. Little buggy boys. And of course, we've got the gene stealers here, which are sort of like the other Tyranids, but do a lot more crazy things in the lore. They like to infect humans and other races with their genetic code so that they'll form cults and then like cause rebellions on planets to make the incoming invasion easier. So they're a bit freaky. Yeah, they're definitely very xenomorph inspired, very alien, uh, you know, infectious, ravenous, just want to kill and eat everything sort of deal. These guys are going to get a lot more wash because they've got a lot more of these open ridged areas. So it's going to be looking a lot more purple. Which is good, I like purple. Blue, red, and purple, not a lot of contrast in the scheme, but I think it'll still look good. Might end up adding like little details of yellow somewhere in there. Maybe on the teeth or tongues or something, just to give a slight bit of contrast. All that matters now is that we get at least some paint down. Because I can spend years thinking about how I want to paint something, but it only matters once I actually start getting paint on it. Whole lot of little bits to get this wash into. In case you don't remember, a wash is basically a paint that is very thin and it has surfactants in it, so the surface tension is low, allowing it to pool in areas in recesses instead of on flat surfaces, which makes it great for putting shadows in small crevices. Just like that. Stays off of the ridges, but goes right down into the valleys. So how's everybody doing out there? Y'all have a good Thursday? I had a pretty good one. My bread machine came in today, or well, last night, and it got set up today. Which meant I had some delicious French bread to nom on for lunch. Probably gonna do up a loaf of rye either tonight or tomorrow morning too. These aren't the easiest things to hold. So I think what I'm going to do is take my kit bashes off of these real quick so I don't give myself another stress injury. Oop, just knocked this guy's arm off. Thankfully they go back on pretty easily. And that guy just popped right off his base. So off to the side he'll go for now. But that should make it easier for me to handle. Once I find my handle. Where did you go, little mister? Ah, there he is. Hanging out by my printer for some reason. Alright. That's better. Much better. So yeah, these guys are very swarmy, very up in your face, melee and short range oriented. Work together really well in groups. They have basically a hive mind, a shared mental process. They use these things called synapse creatures, which are basically like network routers or switches, where the hive mind travels through these commanding creatures into all of the other bugs in the area to give it out orders and tactics and all that. Sort of in the same way that normal military command structure works, except a little bit better when it's directly inside of your brain. And they've got all sorts of different variations on their physical structure. You've got these little termagants who like to shoot and swarm. You've got hormagants, which have scything talons and run up and stabby stab. Gene stealers here. You've got some with these giant artillery pieces on their back, some with tentacles filled with poison, all that good stuff. thinking the picture might be a little bit blown out. Let's see if turning the lights down a little bit helps. That's a bit better. That's right, Bach. Highly evolved fleshy murder bits. There's even there's one that you can build that has a cannon on its back that launches these floating spore mines that look like brains on the end of chains. They're particularly effective at what they do. Almost makes me want to buy some, and if I ever do make a full army for this. And of course, everything looks like awful body horror because it is. Like these guns that uh, these termagants are holding are fully organic. Even the ammo is fully organic. Some of these guns, like one of the options, are called flesh borers, and what they literally do is shoot out parasites that latch onto their target's skin and start burrowing down into it, consuming them from the inside out. Hey, Julie. So yeah, they basically, when they made these guys, oh yeah, definitely a whole bunch of those. No, Julie, this plastic is too expensive to put in my face. I'll go eat the army men. They're much cheaper. But what was I saying? Yeah, some guns shoot burrowing parasites, which I've got a box of termagants that I'm gonna make that will have those. Some shoot out acid naturally created inside their bodies. Others shoot out like flesh-eating bacteria. It's just all sorts of nasty. There's one model that is basically the size of a bus, and its main purpose inside of the army is as a cleanup crew because it has like 6 tentacles inside of its gaping maw, meant to basically go around the battlefield and pick up and eat all of the corpses of everything and convert it into more biomass for the hive. But it has no problem going out in the middle of the battle and just being like, you look good, and just picking up living enemies and ripping them to pieces with the tentacles and just shoving it into its mouth. And that just sounds like a horrific way to go. I suppose it's only fair we do keep telling Kara that her cross stitch there looks like a pancake. Delicious, delicious forbidden pancake. So yeah, you can sort of see where it's literally this person doesn't have hands. Their their hands are the guns, and the ammo feed is coming from within their body through this little tube made out of their own flesh. They are built for war. So what you're saying is we don't have much more time to pull a heist to steal it and eat it like the Declaration of Independence. Also, hope you guys are liking the Final Fantasy in the background. Just put on a random Spotify playlist of it. Here, let me just skip to a boss theme. Oh no, guys, Xenos is after you again. I really need to get back to Final Fantasy 14. Been playing a lot of Dark Tide these past couple days. So I haven't logged in. You did it! Good job. You got 10,000 gil and a materia. Tasty, tasty materia. Just put it in your mouth. Just put it in your mouth. That's how they work, right? I like this guy's tongue. Seems extra nasty. Like, it's bad enough this guy's got 4 claws that are ready to rend you limb from limb, but he's also gonna stab you in the face with his tongue, just for the hell of it. Because why not? One of these days I'm actually gonna look up what the name of that song that they play in Charlian is. The one with the sick acoustic guitar. Because so far that's my favorite song. Definitely made those Endwalker scenes we watched on Julie's stream much more enjoyable for me. When we were just spending forever in Charlie and doing fetch questing. Ooh. The Warrior of Light, professional courier. We may save the world, but our main 99% of the time day job is bringing packages to people who can't be bothered to travel 1 mile away. Yeah, I remember that. My dude, he is literally right there. I mean, to be fair, before that, people struggled to find Mancrick's wife, so they had to dumb it down a bit for everyone. Part of me really misses out, but the other parts are like, bruh, that's an abusive ex. They say they changed, but do you really want to go back again? Exactly, SJ. Got a much better partner now. One with actual coherent story and pacing. Alright, now time to pick out a light blue to do some highlighting with. I think I might end up just... Oh, here we are. Knew I had some in my paint case. Just gonna give it a quick vortex. Doodle doodle doo. Got this nice sky blue, which I'm gonna be using later to do some vaporwave tau. But for now, I think we're gonna use it to do some dry brushing on some of these guys. Or at least one to see how it looks to start. Bit liquidy. Uh, Nothing a bit of rubbing on the paper won't fix. Julie, all about that finger vortexing. So yeah, just gonna gently brush these guys over with this sky blue. See what it does to them, if I like it or not. You know, not bad. I think I could have gone a little lighter. Dried it out a bit more for this guy. But I think that icy white actually does it pretty well. Over these guys, now that the brush is a lot drier, and just run over their blue bits. Yep, so the plastic is by default a light gray, or medium gray really. I should actually have a sprue nearby to show you. Yeah, here we are. My bits bag. So this is what the plastic normally looks like. This is the runners and bits from other sets that I've done. But it normally comes in that gray, and then what you do is you prime it. I usually use a black primer and then highlight it over that black primer in white, and then we go ahead and lay down the base coat. So that's what happened to these guys. They got base primer black, white from above, and then hit all over with blue. Like I said, dry brushing does end up giving it a little bit of a chalky effect, but we've got that nice purple in the shadows. We've got some blue midtones still throughout, and icy white on the high points. So yeah, I like it. I think we'll go with that. Yeah, so I typically put them on their bases before I start priming them, if only to make it easier to do the priming. So they end up getting the overspray on them too. Just gonna load this up with a bit more blue. And the one thing about white paint is you always have to wait a bit on them to see what it dries to, because it'll always look whiter when wet than when it is fully dry. So, like if I just put down a little bit back on this paper, you can see how much of a difference there is between the dried and the wet stuff. Like it's significantly whiter while it's wet. So out of curiosity, you know how they say that you need to come to tournaments with your models painted and all that. Nobody wants to see gray plastic on the table. I was curious what the definitions for painted are, and it turns out there is a simple hard and fast rule for Warhammer 40k as to what qualifies as painted or not. Does anyone want to guess? Well, of course, Julie, it's Warhammer 40k. Wouldn't be a game if it weren't pedantic as hell. Give you another 15 seconds to get any guesses in. Hey, Killed. Yeah, I figured it was a nice, good color. So, the rules for Warhammer 40k are to be considered as painted, there has to be no gray plastic showing, and you have to have put at least 3 colors onto your model. So, it has to be primed, and you have to at least put in the effort to more than just base coat it and put a contrast color on. Which, I mean, it sort of lacks, but at the same time, it's like, just enough of a requirement that it's like, ah, it's a very 40k rule, in my opinion. Yeah, so for this, it's very much like, I put down the base blue, wash in purple, cover in red. So if I weren't doing this dry brushing, that would be enough to get these on the table. Base, wash, highlight, or detail. The fact that I'm going the extra mile and adding these off-white highlights and stuff like that is, even better in that regard. But I don't know. There's a fine line between maintenance of quality and gatekeeping that you have to tread with that sort of thing. I think it'd be much less of an issue if they would just offer like pre-painted model sprues or something like that, sort of the way that um, Gundam has all of their runners in different colors of plastic. So if you just assemble them, so like this is I think it's the Giara, and each of these different colors comes on its own sprue. So when you assemble it, it's effectively pre-colored. You know, it's a little bit more effort from the manufacturer to have multiple color sprues and include them, but like if Games Workshop were able to do that in such a way that it would look good, which wouldn't be an easy feat considering how small these are, you'd have to separate each section by what their base color ought to be. But like if you did, then you could be like, hey, here you go. If you can't paint well, here's an option for you at the very least. But like with everything in Warhammer 40k, a lot of barriers to entry. Kind of like how if you want to get started in Warhammer 40k, you better be willing to drop, you know, a few $100s between paints, figures, tools, all that nonsense. Definitely not beginner friendly, this hobby. But I'm actually selling off my Magic the Gathering collection, so I think some of that money's gonna get transmuted into plastic. Or at least more paint. Maybe some more wood to do laser stuff with. I don't know. Something that isn't cardboard. I do love this sky blue, though. I'm gonna have to find a use for it outside of model space, too. Hey, Kara. And a good Koopo to you, too. How is your Moogle and your Jigglypuff? Exactly. The Warrior of Light is the biggest, strongest post Moogle. A post Moogle who really wants to deliver his or her goods, but these bad guys just keep getting in the way and they have to, stab them. We just want to deliver our packages, but no, the world just has to keep it try ending. Oh, sleepy Moogle. Well, sit back and relax. You deserve it. Oh, hey, Rubik, thank you for being my 30th follower. We reached a goal. 20 more and I will become, what's that first stage, affiliate? Not a particularly important goal for me. I just like being able to show off some of my crafts and painting for y'all, for my friends. But it'd be neat. Be something I could say I did. What is this music? It sounds like something that would play when you're getting up to hijinks. But the Warrior of Light would never do that. Hijinks? In Eorzea? Never. Hey, sheep. Yeah, it is bug time. When I heard that boarding actions were going to become a thing, which, for those of y'all who don't know, boarding actions is a new style of gameplay for 40k coming out that is a small army, about a quarter the size of full-scale armies, uh, that will only be played with normal troops and elite troops. No vehicles, no fast attack, no heavy support, none of that. So, and it's going to be close quarters, like you're infiltrating a ship combat, which the Tyranids, being close quarters, swarmy little guys that like to get in and get up in your face, you know, seems pretty good for them. So I wanted to put together a nice little cheap army of these buggy boys. No idea, they're sheep. I'm actually pretty fresh to the hobby. Uh, Only been painting and collecting for about a month or two now. So I don't know what all different game modes there are. I haven't even actually played a game yet. But definitely, definitely want to give it a try eventually. But real quick, it's been about an hour, so we should take a 3 or 4 minute break, get up, stretch, swap your fluids, all that good stuff. I have to pop some vertebrae in my back, so we will be back in just a few. Alright, and we're back. Miller says hi, by the way. He says he wants a butt rub. So excuse me while I don't paint for just a minute while I give him a butt rub. Because he is a very needy boy. Oh, such a needy boy. Not like he gets butt rubs all day long anyways. Also, if you ask him, he's never been fed in his life. Don't believe the lies he tells. And he only gets 10 naps a day, which is frankly just not enough. So you know he's sleep deprived. Frankly, there needs to be a dog union. Some dog collective bargaining going on. Boo. You need to go to the penitentiary there, Julie. Kite is currently serving at least 20 life sentences in the penitentiary for being a repeat offender. It's almost pathological at this point. So yeah, for anybody who joined in the middle of a stream, these guys have been getting a nice simple process. They got hit with a xenothal priming, then sprayed with some blue ink, which I had a bit of an issue with my airbrush at the time, and they ended up getting very splattered. Uh, but I didn't care too much because spotty skin honestly seems like it'd be good on an alien, on a Xeno. Then we hit it with some very deep purple wash in the recesses around the creases and webbing, and in the face. Then we decided, hey, why not dry brush it over with some sky blue to give it some highlighting. And then after all of that's done, it's going to get a nice uh, flat red carapacing on all of them. Hey April, welcome, welcome. And once that's done, we'll have plenty of termagants with spine fists and devours for, as well as gene stealers here for a coat or compendium kill team. And then later, I'm going to be doing up this guy. His name is the Broodlord, I think. It's either Broodlord or Swarmlord, I can't remember. He'll act as an HQ, and then I've got some other uh, more Gene Stealers and Termagants off to the side here that, once all painted, will encompass a 500-point boarding actions army. So yeah, good times ahead if I... Well, I've got like 4 or 5 friends that are all into Warhammer and Kill Team, and we all want to play, and it's just another one of those deals where it's like, it's hard enough to get us all together for once or twice a month D&D session. Putting on top of that Warhammer 40k is just like, bro, we're not made of time, we're all adults. We've all got different work schedules. Doesn't help the fact that we all live like 30 miles apart from each other. The joys of adulting. I think we've got the most concurrent viewers at once in my time streaming, so thank you all for hanging out with me on this random Thursday evening. Feel bad that it's going to be a little bit shorter of a stream than usual, but hopefully y'all will come back and hang out some more on maybe Saturday or Monday the next time I stream. Oh yeah, the Nids have a lot of great places for recess washing. Just a whole lot of little bits that you can do detailing color on easily, like the carapace and the little ridges. Which is kind of necessary considering if you're going to paint Nids, you're going to probably be painting hundreds of them. What do you want to paint? 30 Termagants or 5 Space Marines? They're the same point value. Oh yeah, the orcs. Oof. Yep. I've got a set of orc boys that I assembled and need to prime that I want to put together for a kill team as well. And I cannot imagine doing like 7 boxes of those just for a boarding action. Let alone a full army. I suppose if you'd be willing to go into the heavier, more mechanized route instead of the swarm route, it'd be fine. Like, anyone who doesn't know about orcs, they're basically fungus people. They start off as spores that are produced from their own kind, and they infect the ground and they grow out into flora, fungus flora, mushrooms. And then that spore eventually also develops into snotlings and squigs, which are little tiny goblins and goblin-like beasts. And then it produces Gretchens, which are bigger goblins, and then it produces orcs. And then the squigs can be turned into basically anything that the orcs need. There are squigs that can be used as attack dogs. There are squigs that can be used as, uh, like rucksacks to put ammo in. There are squigs that they will attach to their head in order to act as hair. But my favorite squig of all is the squigoth, which is a, like, 20-foot tall, you know, huge lumbering beast that they use as like a siege weapon. So do yourself a favor and quickly look up the Squigoth because, oh boy, what I would give to have a few of those on the field. I'd rather paint 3 of those than paint 70 boys. Oh yeah, the bomb squig, which is where they just like shove dynamite into one of these mushroom dogs' mouths and tell it to go run at the enemy. The orcs are a deeply bizarre faction, and I love them for it. Yeah, that's not even scratching the surface of how absurd the orcs are. The orcs used to have a lot of bizarre RNG rules, from what I recall, or what I've heard at least. Like the idea that on crits you could just keep chaining crits into the fact that one weapon attack could end up doing like 20 damage, sort of deal. Like, you could just get one lucky crit with a pistol that goes on forever and blows up a Primarch, basically. If you had, you know, 1 in a million luck, obviously. But then you'd also have an equal chance of all of your forces just accidentally blowing themselves up on turn one. Oh, you rolled a bunch of critical failures and all of your guys are dead. They've obviously changed a lot of that now, but Old Hammer was a bit of a crazy place. Sort of the same way that, like, you hear all the crazy stories about D&D 3rd edition and 2nd edition, how broken things were back then. Oh yeah, or the HQ unit, the weird boy that would sometimes just blow himself up while trying to do any command action. Nothing like your commander just randomly exploding early into your battle. You know, there were two types of players. Players who wouldn't get Space Marines because they were afraid of the 1 in 6 chance, or wouldn't get plasma guns on their Space Marines because of the 1 in 6 chance that they could blow up. And then players who played orcs because they thought that was hilarious and wanted that for all of their figures. And you gotta respect how there's a faction called Chaos in Warhammer, and orcs aren't technically a part of it, and yet they're the most chaotic. I definitely do think, though, that my favorite faction would have to be Necrons, the undead skeleton robots based on, or in the lore, the basis of the Egyptian pharaohs, who have basically awakened after uh, 60 million years to find out that all of the vermin in the universe have become the rulers and they have to squash the roaches from under the galactic fridge in order to regain their territory. We went to bed and we woke up and there were monkeys everywhere. Especially Trazen. Trazen will forever be my favorite Warhammer 40k character. Trazen is a Necron who he's one of the few Necrons that still has his personality intact. After they were turned into machines, only the highest levels of their society could still maintain their personality. It's no soul, but still their personality. And Trazen has been awake for at least 10,000 years before the rest of the Necrons have awakened, as far as we know, because he was doing things around the time of like the Horus Heresy. And he is the British Museum personified. He goes around and he conducts his wars and battles and leads his armies not for the sake of capturing territory, not for the sake of honor and glory, none of that. He uses it as a diversion so he can steal shit. He wants to collect interesting people and artifacts from around the universe, and the easiest way to do that is if there's a war going on, so nobody notices that he is stealing things. He's stolen entire regiments of militiamen. He has stolen historical figures out of humanity's history. He has husks of old dead gods. He just has a private collection of all of the weirdest things in the universe, and that's all he wants to do. He doesn't care who wins or loses, he just wants his stuff. He thinks everything looks neat and he wants it. And in a grimdark world like 40k, I can appreciate that. Oh, yeah. For a while there, he even had an inquisitor of the Imperium. He, I think he has. I don't know if this has been confirmed yet, but I think he's acquired a perfect clone of one of the original Primarchs, Fulgrim, uh, that was created by Fabius Bile. And I think the uh, the thing that I like most about Trazen is that because his goals are collection instead of war for any other reason, that means he's very, very willing to even work with other factions as long as it helps him accomplish his goals. So there are stories of him literally like showing up on a world that the AdMech are exploring for relics and being like, "Hey, I heard you need this super weapon to defeat this uh, world-ending threat posed to the Imperium right now. I'm gonna take this shit of yours, and here's your answer. Good day. And just like an enigmatic prick that shows up with Deus Ex Machina stuff for you as long as it helps further his own goals. And really, we all kind of need that energy in our life right now. In a world where nothing makes sense, embracing the chaos of life just kind of feels right. I've also been starting to listen to this podcast called Adeptus Ridiculous, and like all Warhammer 40k podcasts, it's rough around its edges. A lot of community members and personalities inside the hobby aren't the best of people, but if you look past that, you can find some good times in there. But they did a few uh, episodes on the various people within the Necron dynasties and how interesting some of them are, and I definitely recommend giving those a check out if you find any of that interesting, particularly Trazen and the episode on Zarek, the Silent King, as well as Nemazar something or another, because they're all very cool people. But with that, I am done dry brushing all of these guys, and I have to get ready for dinner obligations. So I'm going to say thank you all for coming on out and hanging out with me for this short little stream here. And if you don't mind, I'm going to toss you at somebody. Uh, oh, it looks like Lumi's playing some more Destiny 2 today, so I'm going to toss you all at them and, spread some of that love around. Be the good you want to see in the world. Be good to yourselves as well, because, you know, if the world isn't going to be good to you, you should be good to yourself. But, yeah. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and we'll see you either Saturday, Sunday, or whenever next you feel like coming back to me.